What's up guys, my name is Cherno. Welcome back to another Cherno live stream. We are back at it again with Hazel, of course, and actually today should be kind of cool because we are at the point where I don't know, I wouldn't say finalized is the right word, but we are basically at a point where the UI rendering with the new renderer is kind of working pretty well, and we just need to start making progress on Hazel's actual like 3D renderer. So it's kind of exciting, I guess, to do that, because even though the 3D renderer is technically more complicated than the UI rendering and all that 2D stuff, it's a different ball game because we're dealing with just pure Hazel. Whereas before that we were kind of dealing with ImGui. It was a bit confusing with like the viewports, and we had to go through and we actually updated like the ImGui version we were using in the first place, which was a lot of like work that wasn't exactly relevant to the renderer, but it just needed to be done overall. So in other words, like we are at, oh no, I just realized that I need to plug in a cable so that you guys can see my computer screen. Where did I unplug it to? Like, where is it currently plugged into? Because I did something with it. All right, hang on guys. I will be back in a second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, it's fixed now. Just had to plug in a cable so that you guys could see my screen. All right, so, yeah, I guess let's do a quick little recap. I'm pretty sure we did a commit last time as well. So if I have a look at fork, then so updated to latest ImGui. We've got like no local changes. And that was, I think, a pretty juicy commit, as you can see. So that's now done, which is great. That's pushed to GitHub and everything. And so now we can have a look, I guess, at what that looks like. There are still a few quirks with the UI rendering, but I don't know if I want to address them just yet. We can, but I thought since we've kind of hit this milestone, I thought it would make more sense to spend some time on the 3D rendering. So this is where we're at the moment. So if I launch this, then we have obviously, we have quite a large memory leak, don't we? We need to explore that, because if we go into Task Manager and we have a look at Hazelnut, which is over here, you can see that memory usage is just climbing. So I'd like to take a look at that memory usage, I think. And also it's not tracked using Hazel's tools for some reason. So we need to also investigate why that is. And I think we've also earned the right to call this 2025.1 because we actually have stuff rendering now. So I might do that as well. But yeah, the actual memory leak we need to do, and then also, yeah, like, so the quirks, if we have a look, like these are rendering weirdly. So it's using probably nearest filtering, point filtering instead of linear filtering for the icons. And then, so you can see they look weird, but also on these actual files, we don't have the text for some reason. So I don't know. I kind of want to investigate the way that fonts are working. So that's, yeah, definitely something that we need to do. And yes, the memory leak is slightly bugging me because, I mean, it's fair enough that it's not tracked because we're a bit lax with memory tracking in Hazelnut or in Hazel. But if we have a look at, what is it, like view statistics. Oh yeah, and that's the other thing, obviously. We can grab windows like this and just drag them out. And that works. So we've got viewports working and everything. If we have a look at memory, so this is like the memory view, then you can see that, well, for one, it says our current usage is 178. It is rising, to be fair, by about a megabyte per second or so. But it's, first of all, it's not telling us where our allocation is. And also this is reporting like, well, now it's 23 gigabytes, right? So it's a lot more than what this is saying. So I think we're going to start off by just, and then, yeah, Visual Studio is saying we're using way more than we actually are, but it's also not good here, right? So, you know, we can take a snapshot of something and then take another snapshot and then see like what's going on, probably. If this like behaves. Well, yeah, this is not, that's managed heap though. What about? Oh, here we go. Native allocations, native heap size. So we can probably use some of these Visual Studio tools to see what is allocating stuff. I don't know if this is going to work exactly how I think it is. Just pause this for a sec. And to be fair, I haven't used these tools in a while. Yeah, so... Okay, so I mean, this seems to be in set push constants. That should be all right. That's very small anyway. But these will be just stack variables. So void managed memory. It all kind of seems to be, that's all of these. I mean, that does seem like a lot. If we're going through this though, we would know what it is. So let's maybe do, if we go to maybe performance profiler, then we can do memory usage. And we can probably find out what's going on. Okay, so that's, but yeah, I guess that just wants us to take snapshots. Great. Maybe it needs to be stopped first. Just lower this a bit. It's been a while since I used any of these tools, so I don't really remember what the best way to do this is. Might have to look at some docs. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this looks better. So unsigned char 52 meg. So where's this being allocated from? Render command queue. Oh yeah, well that's fine, right? I mean, we have a lot of these, but that's okay, I guess. Yeah, that's only like 50 megabytes though. This is like 500 meg more. I mean, this looks like it's allocating a lot. And that age, 14 seconds. So this is all, these are all persisting, it seems. I think. So when we do set graphics state, set graphics state is hitting allocate. Because we're doing push back. Okay. But isn't that just kind of transient? It's really weird. I mean, we can have a look, but that is, I mean, it seems to just be happening from here. But again, this could be just transient memory that's just being allocated every frame, which is not great, but it's not a leak. So it might be hard to find. But I don't know, this age, what does that mean exactly? Does that mean that's just the age of the allocation, right? Not the fact that it's still active. Yeah, they're basically all coming from there. That's very strange. And it's that update geometry. We've got right buffer, which will copy, yeah, into this vector. So it's kind of all seemingly coming from vectors. This is very strange. I feel like this is not it. Because it doesn't make sense. All this stuff. This stuff should all be... Okay, I mean, let's investigate one of them, I guess, for fun. But it's a bit weird to me. So what I'll do is I'll go to like here. We'll go to, not here. We'll go to one of these allocations. We know it's in set graphic state. And then that calls bind binding sets. And then bind binding sets is gonna have a current command buffer with referenced resources pushback. So if I just put a breakpoint here, maybe we can see the size of that vector and just make sure that, but again, it's very strange. Like, I don't think that would be just accumulating memory. Very weird. It doesn't really look like it's happening in our code. I mean, it's probably happening as a result of our code, but it doesn't look like it's happening in our code. Yeah, so let's just let this run for a bit, I guess. And then like we can have a look. Size 7. Well, yeah, this is just size 7, size 10, size 12, 13, 14, 16, 18, 20, 21. But like, you know, if we let it run for a bit, now we're back to 7, apparently. And that's in ImGui Render. So it's clearly not, like, yeah, it might be allocating constantly, which is not good, actually. This is just an SCD vector. But anyway, so it probably eventually goes down. It might need to wait for like a certain amount of, but this is once per frame, so I'm surprised it's not going down already. Push constants. Because there are a lot of duplicates in here. But how come it's not going down until I resume this? And now it goes down to 7. That's so strange. Very weird. Let's have a quick look at this. We can also use Tracy for memory profiling, so I might want to do that. Can also have a look at what this says. Oh wow. So this does actually go up to like, it goes up to quite a large number. 131, but then obviously gets wiped. Alright, whatever. Let's have a look at this. I'm gonna launch Tracy. Probably should update it, but we'll have a look at this first. I think this can help. Okay, so there's the memory usage. It is going up. So that's good. Yeah, so ImGui renderer render seems to be allocating lots of bytes on the main thread. Oh, this is cool. That's very cool. Yeah, so that's weird. So set graphics state. Inside here is apparently allocating. That's so weird. Was it easy to add the memory mapping thing in Tracy? I don't really know how we added that. I don't remember doing all the profiling and stuff I remember, but I don't really remember how the memory stuff works. I feel like that just works. That's so strange though, like why set graphics state? Why would that be constantly accumulating memory? It doesn't really make sense. Do I have to like clear the graphics state or something? But that's weird. That's very weird. Responding. Very weird. I mean, it doesn't seem obvious. If we have a look at the example code for say drawing, that's just going to do set graphics straight draw. I mean, it's doing close and execute command list, but we're clearly doing something like that as well. So close and execute command list. And that's it. Vulkan state tracking CVP 314. So this. It's not letting me look at this. It's optimized away. Where does this come from? Oh, well, see, this doesn't make sense because that's got to be transient because that's just a local variable in here. And then that's kind of it. So this is very weird. That's so strange. Like, I just don't understand why that's... Well, I mean, it's going into Hazel allocate. Oh, here it is. If enable profiling, trace alloc. So that's how we do it. I don't know if that's in like the allocator. Memory.cpp, I guess. It has allocator allocate, and then yeah, here's the Tracy alloc. And then here's Tracy free. It's very strange. Because it's not really showing up in the allocation map. But also the fact that this is coming from here. Like maybe we should look at how this works, but that's a bit weird. Megabytes of this stuff though. In place reallocate. Hang on a minute. Ah. Those are supposed to be reallocs, not full-on allocs. Vector 825. Welcome buffer 411. In place reallocate. Allocate new vec. So okay, here's what I want to know. Here's what I want to do. It's going to be a bit hard. Actually, it's not, because I can put a breakpoint here. And then I know that's going to hit the allocator. So we're just going to put a breakpoint probably here. Okay, doesn't hit that. One of these probably. And that's the audio thread. Okay, well this is like right buffer or whatever. Yeah, sure. So then that does in place one at back, and then it doesn't in place reallocate. It goes into here, and we go into allocate. We do std allocate. So that just goes into a normal allocate, and it does operator new with bytes. So that's all fine. But then that's so strange. So I have to investigate what exactly happens with the vector free, because I feel like it's not really getting freed or something. Where was that other one? So that that one we just looked at was for that, but then there's, yeah, update geometry has right buffer and Vulkan buffer 411. So if we have a look at Vulkan buffer 411, no, that's this. There was one that was actually like in the scope. So I want to have a look at that one. Probably not this one, the Vulkan state tracking 314. Oh, yeah, it's this one. Let's restart this in debug. Yeah, it would be really weird if the vector frame was an issue, but I don't know what because what's happening is basically every time it seems to be allocating from a vector, which NVRHI does a lot of, which is probably not ideal, but anyway, every time it allocates from a vector, it seems to not have a matching free. At least Tracy can't find a matching free for it. So what should be a transient allocation ends up being permanent. What's up, Seek V? First time catching the live Cherno, what's up? What's up is memory. Is being annoying. That's what's up. Why is this taking like a year to open? This we can just discard. It's still opening? Are you serious? That's taking too long, even in debug. Yeah, the memory is literally up too high. Damn, this is like, what's going on with this? Why is debug suddenly so slow? Didn't used to be this slow. It's a bit strange. Oh. Look at this. What's going on? Let me just pause it for a second. Just like initializing C#. What's going on, man? Debug has never taken this long to open. Hasn't even like gotten to most of the renderer stuff. I'm gonna terminate it because that's weird. Okay, let's just do a clean build. How much RAM do I have? 128 gig in this one. I also use this computer for like video editing and stuff, so, and like Blender and everything, so it needs some RAM. Oh. All right, quick little Q&A during the build. Hello there, I hope everything going smoothly today. Well, it's not so far, but thanks for the thanks for the support. Oh, what? It's still running. Die. Of course, this is classic Windows. I can't end the process because access is denied, you know? So I'm forced to, restart my computer? Or change the name of this output file. I'm gonna restart my computer. Maybe that'll fix all the errors, so. Computer is being restarted now, but don't worry, the stream will continue. Because that's a different computer. So yeah, Q&A. Ask me all your questions while I have time to answer them, because hopefully if this comes back and works, we're going to get into some real deep work. How much of your time developing is waiting for Hazel to open? Not that much. I usually run Hazel in release mode, in like a release build, and that's pretty quick, like a couple seconds. But in a debug build, it can be like 20 to 30 seconds. Mostly because of the shaders and the shader system, but if you use something called a shader pack, which is kind of like a runtime version of the shaders that we actually ship with Hazel's like runtime when you make a game and ship it. You can use that in the editor, and that makes it like 5 to 10 seconds to open instead of like 20 to 30 in debug. In release, it's like 2 to 5 seconds or something, I don't know. Okay, we're back. Platforms aside, do you prefer the Vulkan or DirectX 12 interface, purely from a code side? To be honest, like at the moment, in the beginning I preferred DirectX 12. At the moment I prefer Vulkan, but I have spent way more hours in Vulkan than I have in DirectX 12. Like, because we used Vulkan at EA, like before it was released, basically, like in 2015 for the Android games that we were making. Like, because of that, I have a lot, like I've just been exposed to Vulkan like for a very long time, and I've been using it for a very long time. So I feel I'm quite comfortable with the API itself, you know? Whereas DirectX 12, I'm just not as familiar with. Between DirectX 11 and OpenGL, which I both used extensively, I definitely prefer DirectX 11. Like, I think DirectX 11 is a really, really nicely written API. OpenGL can be easy, but it's, and simple, like in terms of not verbose, but it's also like very error prone and globally and static and stuff like that. So yeah, like DirectX 11, I think I used to prefer, but between Vulkan and DirectX 12, like, I think I'd have to go with Vulkan just because of the experience, and that leads to me being more comfortable. So I'm not saying it's better, I'm just saying it's, for me, it's more comfortable. Do you see many spiders while living in a big Australian city? Yes, actually, but let me clear this up for you. Spiders, a lot of people think spiders are very dangerous in Australia, and there is one you need to be aware of, which is like the funnel web, but that's in like Sydney, and I live in Melbourne. I'm in a different state, so we don't really have them here. And aside from that, like basically spiders are, like, the worst spider bite you can get here is like technically less serious than a bite from a wasp. So people have this irrational fear of spiders killing you, but like it doesn't happen. Like spiders are not like nowhere near as harmful. At least again for like Victoria, Australia, where I live, nowhere near as harmful as people think they are. So I'm not really scared of spiders. The only thing I'm actually scared of are snakes. Yeah, someone said snakes are dangerous. Yes, snakes I am kind of scared of. I don't see them where I live. I never see them. And if I go out into like the forest, I've seen like 1 or 2 in all my life. So they're generally scared of people and they run away if you're hiking. Spiders can be pretty big, but like the size doesn't really correspond with the harmfulness, you know, like, because some spider, like a huntsman, is like, can be this big, but they don't have a web. They just kind of, and they usually sit in your house. They don't really disturb you, and they just kill insects. So they're actually kind of good. And kangaroos are not dangerous either. I have kangaroos in my backyard. Like obviously if you get into a fight with one, it's not ideal, but you're probably not going to get into a fight with one. Look, this is like hanging again. It's very weird. So strange. I don't know what happened to Hazel. But it just does not seem to be working very well. Yeah, like kangaroos generally do not engage with people. They just like run away. Yeah, and jellyfish can be quite dangerous. But again, they're usually in more warmer waters, whereas I live in the south of Australia, in the southeast. So they're not really, we don't really get them very often on the beaches here. Are the breakpoints still enabled? Probably, but they're not breaking. Because it's like running. I don't know what's going on. It's very strange. Just does not want to work today. Have you been to Tasmania? No, I've never been to Tasmania. I've wanted to go for a while, like, because it seems like it'd be a nice place to go hiking and camping, but I have not been ever. What is going on, bro? Is it still in that same place? Yeah. So for some reason now, initializing C# is like not working. What happened? That's very strange. It's just sitting apparently in here. That is bizarre. This is such a bad stream / development time. And what like release works? And I just did a clean build and everything. And it won't even end it. It's just hanging in this C# thing. Maybe I should reinstall that. Host fxr, host policy.dll. I think this works, right? This is release. So release works, but debug is just broken. I don't know, man. It's kind of weird. These are all C# warnings. I don't know why there's so many. It's very annoying because I kind of wanted to run that, but if we put this back, so the idea is that buffer barriers, we're pushing back into that vector, and that vector is a local variable, right? So clearly at the end of this scope, that vector needs to die. Both of these do. So what my theory is basically that when that vector dies, I don't know why, but it's not actually calling free, or at least it's not calling one of these frees. And so it's not ending up in free. And there's basically one free function. And no matter what, it should land in there. So if we just go F10, oh look, this is ending up here. Is that from that's from the audio thread? Okay, never mind. So I want to see if the main thread, look, this is the main thread. So look, deallocate. So, and what is it? Well, we do buffer barriers.clear, but the destructor of vector with buffer memory barrier. Yes, that's buffer barriers. Look, so there we go. So this is the destructor. So it is going through deallocate, operator delete, pointer, and bytes. Ah, that's interesting, because we don't have that operator. Pointer and bytes. Okay. Why do we need deallocate with a size in this case? But anyway, that's still somehow landing here. And then it ends up, well, yeah, that would end up freeing. It would have to. That's really not the right function though. It's this operator delete with size. Let's quickly add that in, because I think that's a bit dodgy that we don't have that. And does that end up going into here? No. So what does that do? Like, why does it have... So it has to equal the size, basically, that was passed in here, is the way that it's supposed to work. So once it finds the allocation, so size, let's just do a little, I guess we can just do this. And we'll ultimately end up doing the same thing. Who knows, maybe this will detect some errors. Yeah, it's a bit weird. Well, we know that one deletes now, so... We're still, like, consuming a lot of memory. And I don't know where from. And somehow it's not very helpful. Did I close Tracy? So you can see the active allocations, which is what we currently have active, is just growing like crazy. And yeah, they're all coming from the vector. So those 1128 bytes, and look, they're lasting for 30 plus seconds because they're never getting freed. Interesting. I mean, it's reporting way less than what we're actually using. We're like 20 gigs somehow. But this is not good. Four, 3, 4. So strange. So 434 is it? ImGui renderer.cpp line 434. That's just this though. HZ profile func. That's not, I don't think that's doing anything. I mean, it's clear. Like, in terms of what it's saying, it's clear. I just don't understand why. Like, so vector in place 3 allocate is calling allocate, which is doing the actual malloc. But the problem is that apparently the memory that's being allocated here, it's never seeing it like clear. It's never seeing it be freed. But I'm just not sure why. Because it seems to be freed. Okay, let's do this. Let's just disable all memory tracking and allocation, right? So HZ track memory. I don't actually even know where that's turned on. I'm guessing that's just like, let's go to premeg and see if that's there. I just want to turn all of this stuff off and just go back to vanilla allocators and just see if that works. Because that way at least we can rule out the allocators being to blame. Because this didn't used to happen, obviously. We've shipped games with this. So I'm very surprised, but still, we need to double check. So, HZ track memory. Let me just search everything for that. If. Yeah, it's in the proj. So in Hazelnut. Okay, I'll just remove it from here. So I'll just remove it from Hazelnut and Hazel. Is it inheriting it? No. I thought it was here. Didn't we just see it there? Hazel. It's in Hazelnut. Here's that track memory. What? Maybe it's just not in dist. Yeah. Yeah, because we disable it for dist. Okay, let's do a build. Very interesting. No, Tracy enable, we're not in. Tracy has nothing to do with this. Tracy just tracks allocations. It doesn't do allocations. No, I didn't want to remove the tracing. I want to remove, so Hazel has its own memory allocators that like will allocate memory instead of like normal, you know, operator new and operator delete that will just call, you know, malloc and free. And obviously like we do that primarily like for tracking purposes, but also so that if we need to, we can kind of control where the memory comes from. And that obviously always used to work, and also we add like other tracking systems to that, but that always used to work, but now it's just behaving weirdly. So I've disabled it, and I just want to see if this still climbs, and you can see it is. So it's not Hazel's memory allocators to blame, because there's Hazelnut. We're already at 3.5 gigabytes. Now we're at 4, so it's still climbing. So it has nothing to do with, seemingly, with our allocators. And you can see these are all disabled now. So if we go like memory and I put a breakpoint here, that's all, none of this exists, you can see. There's actually still breakpoints in here that aren't doing anything. So it's very strange. And I can, let's do this and then reconnect. And then I can have a look at the memory again. No memory data collected. Oh, well, yeah, I can't do it through Tracy because I disabled that. So we can do this, I guess. Must be leaking whole images every frame. Yeah, it's very big, the amount. But what's weird is Visual Studio doesn't think so. That's why I kind of wanted to investigate the font texture, but which I guess we should, because it is going up a lot. But if we just do like a snapshot, what's weird is that like I can run it here, and you know we're at like what 2.7 gig apparently. So it's got the snapshot. Let's go up. You know, it's already at 3.3 gig. So it's gonna, well, this is like, it's been like, this is like more than a gig more. Yeah, well, I'm taking a snapshot. So I took a snapshot between 2.7 and 4.1, you know? So that's like 1.4 gig worth. But then watch it say that I've used like an extra 2 megabytes or something stupid. Yeah, process monitor might be a good thing to try. Procmon. Okay, well no, this does say 1.6 gig now more. Well, no, it doesn't say 1.6 gig more. It says 500 meg more, which is still less than we've observed, but 500 megabytes does seem like a lot. But if I have a look at this, I don't think we really get any useful information. This is, yeah, this is, so the size diff is probably what we care about. And for here, again, you can see it's just weird. It's saying 5 megabytes of difference from void allocations. And if I open that, then here it's just, it's mostly calling operator new from like, you know, from vector. So it's kind of useless. But the age of the allocation is quite high, you know, and this is like, again, binding sets, which again is a vector allocation. So that is transient effectively, or at least it should be. You wouldn't trust it in release. Really? Let's have a look at this like font texture. But this only happens update font texture, because you can see if it already exists, then it just returns true. But maybe it's worth seeing. Because you can see it's hitting return true. So is it actually not ever hitting this? No. Because it makes it once and that's it. So it can't be constantly recreating it. Why is this stuff here? That's weird. I don't know why it's in that function, but anyway. Because this is us like creating a texture, but again, that happens once. And then we're here, so it's not that. Okay, the other thing I guess I can do, just as a stab in the dark, is to basically disable the renderer. So if we go to ImGui layer, I can just not render. I'll still do this CPU side rendering, but just not the GPU side rendering. And then we won't see anything on the screen. It'll be like black, but we can just see if it's still, so it's black, but we can see if it, it's still leaking stuff, and it's not. See, so this is the dead one. Don't ignore this second one. See, 478 meg, and it's still 478. So, well, 478.2, nope, down to 0.1, 478. So it's not going up at all, even though it's still doing everything. You can see it's still functioning. It's just not, it's literally not just calling, it's just not calling like one function. But what in this function could be leaking so much memory? I mean, it could be a lot of things, but it shouldn't be. ImGui isn't rendering either. Well, ImGui is rendering in the sense that we're still calling ImGui.render. So this actually goes through and creates the draw list. It's just we're not going through the draw list and actually using Vulkan to render it onto the screen. That's what we're doing, or what we're not doing. This little function I wrote hopefully doesn't end up creating a new graphics pipeline every frame. Yeah, that could be a leak if that theoretically was happening. Are we calling it again? Yeah. So, no, we're not. So I'm guessing we just, yeah. So we don't end up ever doing this. This will only trigger if we like resize. See? And then it'll have to create 3 of them, one for each swap chain image. But if it's running, it's not calling that. So that's not happening. And pipeline cache, you can see the size is 1. What about this binding set? That's not get binding set is not create binding set. It's probably cached it. Update geometry doesn't reallocate. Wait, is it calling reallocate buffer every time, or no? It's just if it needs to. It just says true. It only creates buffer if it needs to resize it, which doesn't. Most of this ImGui render is written by NVIDIA. But some of it, like this function, is written by me, so I'm being a little bit cautious in some areas. So this does vertex buffer data. Resize 5,000, 6,000, that seems okay. And then it does write buffer, which it needs to. Don't know, man. And then we go into render, which is here. Viewport, so push back. Update geometry we've looked at. So this never ends up happening. We always go like, yeah, to down here. Okay, I reckon let's get a debug build working. And then yeah, get binding set obviously runs, but that always ends up getting the cached value, and that's it. That set needs to change. And then set graphic state is the other thing that apparently leaks memory. And then yeah, the push constants. We just create the push constants on the stack. And then we set them like this. So also fine. I don't know. Unless it's like in NVRHI. Like unless they have some weird bug inside NVRHI. Which I don't know, to be fair, like I don't know what version of NVRHI we're using, like we are on like October or something. Oh, this is the Hazel branch though. So they're still doing stuff like weeks ago. But like surely there's nothing like a fixed massive memory leak. Yeah, they've done quite a lot of work actually. Wow, that's a lot of work. Maybe we should update this, to be honest. Because we're like, I don't know, it feels like we're like 100 commits behind. But again, I just do not like as if this has such a big leak in it that we can't really find. I like C-style casts more. The C++ ones are just huge and unnecessary. Unless you like specifically want to use the features of dynamic cast or something, which I never do. And also some of this code I didn't write because it's from NVIDIA. I don't know, man. This is very strange. This is very bizarre. So from here, like we can keep, so I do want to do a debug build, right? Let me just change all these asserts to like, I said core assert or something. This we can probably delete now that everything else is working. And yeah, we're gonna have to do like a debug. And again, I can't, like debug is just, I don't know why it's so broken. And I also can't close this. Maybe I can use, maybe I can use this to try and get rid of Hazel. Okay. Did that work? But what? No, nothing owns that. Wish there was like a little super kill. Or do I have to run this as administrator? Actually can't do anything. So task kill, I can maybe use. So I should be able to do IM Hazelnut.exe. But it success, no, not success. It didn't work. What's /F? Force. Well, yeah. Wouldn't be using this. Oh, whoops. If I didn't want to force. The process could not be terminated. There is no running instance of the task. It's right here, bro. It's literally right here. Oh, Windows. So the parent is a non-existent process, which is probably why it's upset. What does verify do? I don't know. Kill process. No. This is crazy. Okay, apparently there's some other stuff I could try, like this. Hey, for real. No, I guess I need to download that. Okay, I give up. I'm just gonna restart my computer. Hit 1, Windows 1. I'm gonna like switch to Linux or Mac OS or something. After this. Well, yeah, maybe it's like some driver issue. I don't know. So we're gonna restart. This is the second restart of today, so it's not going well. Not going well, indeed. Oh. All right. Round 3. Yeah, I've got a separate stream PC. But I like the theory that it's staying up by the sheer will of the people. Okay, so we're trying to build debugs still. Well, okay. I mean, I think I just did a clean build, but let's do clean. Let's just delete the entire intermediates. And in fact, let's just delete the bin directory. Just a complete wipe of everything. And now let's build. So, question times. What's up, guys? How you doing? Speaking Russian in the stream. What's up? Yeah, I can speak Russian. When are you planning to migrate to Holy See? Oh, that's that sea, and I'm not. Cut that short. When am I planning? When am I putting Hazel to Rust? Also not sure. I've never actually used Rust, so I was gonna make a video of me using Rust for the first time. I think that'd be fun. So, I'll have to do that first, and then we can talk about porting Hazel to Rust. All right, more questions. Go. It's already building Hazelnut. It's almost done. It's pretty quick. Trying to learn a Vulkan, and I've created a single-threaded app that will draw a triangle. However, when I enable rendering, the FPS goes from 1 mil to 2K. Is this to be expected, or is it an indication that I'm doing unnecessary synchronization? You might be. 2K, depends on your hardware. 2000 FPS for a triangle is a little bit low, I would say. You probably should be getting like, well, again, it depends on your hardware, so I can't really say. But it's not terrible. But it does seem like a lot. Like, as in, a lot being like it's a bit slow, taking up a lot of time to draw one triangle. Should be like 5K plus, I'd expect. So yeah, so you might be doing synchron, you might be waiting, you might be GPU, CPU bound. Like, so one thing you can do is use something like Tracy. I would probably use that from the get-go. Actually, that's not a bad video idea. Maybe I'll do that. But yeah, if you can use something like Tracy, then, okay, let's launch Hazel Debug and see what happens. Use something like Tracy because that will visually show you if you are waiting on the GPU or if you're progressing with the next CPU frame while the GPU is rendering the GPU, like the frame you've already submitted. Because you might be doing that, and that might result in, obviously, an FPS drop. Oh, it worked. Cool. So I don't know what was wrong with it, but yeah, we are running in debug, as indicated by this text. So, and yes, memory usage is still climbing like crazy. But yeah, should we try? And now that we are in debug, and someone was saying they wouldn't trust release for memory profiling, which I'm not sure about. Well, see, I mean, even this says that it's set to debug, switch to release configuration for more accurate results. So, I don't know. Like, in my opinion, when you're doing any kind of performance stuff, I mean, this is memory usage, just a bit different. But when you're doing that kind of stuff, like, you generally want to be in a release. But we can start it in debug, and we'll see if we get anything more. Have I tried running Hazel through Wine? No. But yeah, we don't need to because we support Linux. So why would we run it through Wine? Working on a C# game from scratch, implementing everything myself. Should I outsource performance-related parts to C++ or use it as interoperability? Just be aware of what's slow. Oh look, is this failing again? It was just running. Can run once apparently. It might just be loading. I don't know. But it's weird. I feel like it's stalling again in the C# area. Ridiculous. Just be aware of what is actually slow, and I would only, yeah, good, it's going, I guess. I would only kind of move stuff to C++ if there's a reason to do it, because C#'s pretty fast, and unless you need specific stuff that is C++ only, then you should be okay. So I wouldn't do that prematurely, basically. All right. So, take a snapshot. I mean, it's hard to tell, but yeah, no, we're still leaking a lot. It's just running slower, so it's seems like we're not leaking as much, but I think we are. Oh. Everything is so slow. Next step in the streaming setup is having a third PC playing other games while waiting for Visual Studio. Yeah, well, when we were working on Hazel multiplayer and we were working on the Hazel server, so we were on Linux. We were actually developing on Linux. We were playing like Minesweeper while we were waiting for stuff like this. Because we were using Make and C-Line and that was a bit slow, so maybe we can bring Minesweeper back, I don't know. So it's saying 325 meg from here. But it's not really, oh, here's 314. Oh, look, what's this? Jolt API, but that's like, that's a one-time, that's in init. It just allocates like, well, it says 10 meg, but it's 300 meg. But that's, again, that's a one-off allocation. But this, you can't, it's not going to show me that. Look, update font texture. But again, we know that that only happens because it early's out. So that only happens the first time as well. I am alloc. Pixels. Doesn't really look like we ever free this memory, but again, we only run through this once. Not really sure why we don't free it. I didn't write this. This is NVIDIA. But I'm definitely not seeing it be freed anywhere. But again, it runs through this once, so... And see, this is also ImGui layer on attach. Why is this even here? I mean, I guess these are all persistent allocations that have never been freed. So maybe we should look at the count rather than the size. Because there's apparently 54,000 of these allocations. New allocation. Oh, and yeah, new allocation count is important. I mean, this is crazy as well. Ref count pointer of I resource plus 2,000. No, well, but why is that a heap allocation? See, that shouldn't be a heap allocation. But before that, we have, yeah, this SCD container proxy thing, which is probably just going to be like vector stuff. But it never gets destroyed. Wait, create command buffer. Why are we shouldn't get or create command buffer. So every frame we do command list open, right? And that will get or create command buffer from here. But apparently the command buffer's pool is empty, so it ends up always creating a command buffer. Which, I don't know, we definitely shouldn't be creating a command buffer every frame, especially when we have a command list, which is a command buffer. Like we create that like up here, don't we? Device create command list. I mean, a command list doesn't seem to exactly map to a command buffer according to NVRHI. It's just here it will get or create command buffer from a Vulkan queue. And create command buffer will like create a command pool and do all of this stuff. But we don't really want to do this every frame. Like, what's the point of doing this up here then? Let's have another look at Donut and see what it does. Squo Nas. Who is that? Moderator on my stream. I have no idea who you are. Unless you've changed your name. Old housemate. Ah. How you doing? You've changed your name. Hence why I don't recognize you. Where is the command buffer added to the pool? Not sure. It looks like it creates it and adds it immediately to the pool. Oh, this is Donut. Let's see quickly. I mean, I'm guessing it the ImGui renderer, because this is where I got it from. And I'm pretty sure it does the same thing. Hey, Tina Knox, thanks for the 10 gifted subs. Appreciate the support. How's the fam? Fam is good. Youngest daughter just turned 1 like last week on Thursday, so time is flying. That's how it's going. So I want to see if that command list situation over here, I'm guessing inside init. All right, so this is like the actual renderer. Yeah, it creates the command list, and then I'm guessing inside render every frame, it just does open. So it's supposed to do open. I was obviously supposed to use that every frame. But I'm just wondering, well, why on earth it, I don't know, man. This is super weird. Because again, I don't love the fact that it's doing that, but it's not like that itself is probably not a leak. I mean, it's creating this tracked command buffer, which seems to allocate memory. Well, how's it allocating memory though? Or maybe it itself is the allocation if it's being, yeah, because it's doing it's creating a reference counted object. So it's doing, well, it's doing make shared apparently. Make shared, right? Yeah, std make shared, and we get this tracked command buffer pointer. But again, it's all like a shared pointer, so it should get freed. That seems reasonable. I mean, it's seemingly lasting for 15 seconds though. It's creating, yeah, it's got all the referenced resources and stuff. Yeah, it is doing a lot of this stuff. And I really don't like that. Like, if we just do a little... Because you can see it's creating like the command pool, it's making this. Like, why do we really need to do this every frame? Let's build a release for tests like this. But, so command buffers pool though. Retire command buffers. How do we get stuff into this pool? Because it doesn't look like there is a way to get stuff into this pool. Well, actually retire, so submissions, command buffers in flight, they go into the pool. Right. So it's like some edge case. Pool.empty, create command buffer. That seems odd that it would do this. Yeah. I mean, it's gonna do this every frame. Maybe it's fine. But again, what doesn't make sense to me is like this thing, right? So, okay, so where does that's the return. So that is the thing that it returns into current command buffer. And then it does begin and blah, blah. So what's the lifetime of this like? Well, I mean, I guess next frame. So executed is going to set it to null pointer. So it's basically going to die. Man, this is just bizarre. This is just bizarre. Yeah, so we are doing that every frame. That was really didn't have to test that. Okay, if we just do an open, then we clear, yeah, and then do we do start marker? Yeah, so then we'll just do end marker and close. So let me just do like a clear color, right? I'm just clearing this to pink at the moment. Is that fine? Because that's using the command list. It's opening it. It's just clearing the color attachment to pink, so we should see a pink screen. And is that like leaking a bunch of memory? Yeah, it looks like it is. Look, 2,000, 3,000, 3. Look at that, 4 gig. But I'm not doing anything. And it's leaking it much faster because I'm running much faster. That is cooked. So we're at like 30 gig in Task Manager and almost 60 gig in Visual Studio. That's insane. So what, opening this is doing that? Because if I don't do that... What? Maybe I should just update. Maybe I should just go to the latest version of NVRHI. Like, let's just do it. You know, it's not gonna hurt. I wanted to kind of do it anyway because I'm using a version that's like 8 or 9 months old. You know, let's just do it. So the way we'll do that, because we have to merge it into the Hazel branch, is let me try and find where it is. Because we need our fork of it. Oops. I guess we can do this. We'll grab this. Stupid C key. Okay, so let's add a new remote. We'll add this. I guess we just merge it. And then we merged into Hazel. That's still kind of wrong, I'm guessing. Okay. Let's do that, whatever. And then if we go back here now, we can fetch and we should see the latest stuff here. And now I can pull. And just like that, we're on latest NVRHI. I don't know if I need to rerun like pre-make or change anything, but let's build this. Yeah, probably. Okay, it's moved stuff around. It looks like it's moved stuff around. Because what's DirectX / D3D12? That's weird. What? Do they move like some header? Doesn't look like it. Oh, right. Okay. Wait, what is that? Is that the actual DirectX 12 header? What was this before? Wondering where it's expecting it to be. No, I might need to but they're not there, are they? No, they're not here. Oh yes, they are. DirectX headers. It's probably in here. Yeah, it is. Okay, I don't know if that used to be like that or not, but either way. Yeah, it didn't used to be like that. Weird. Anyway, this really only needs to be done if, oh, that's NVRHI Vulkan. D3, D12 includes. Yeah, that's a bit weird. Like a bit weird that that changed or whatever. And this is upset with toString apparently. Is that in the string or something? A bit annoying that I have to write that. Is it doing the trick on 64-bit systems of using memory arenas where you ask the system to reserve gigabytes of memory but only committed it when it's actually used? Well, it wouldn't be doing that every frame. Like, it's growing every frame if it was pre-allocating it once or something. But I don't know. Like, it shouldn't be showing that much, though. I would imagine, you know? And I can't see that actually working. Like, as in I can't... from the code that I've looked at, I can't track down it doing that somewhere. So it's very strange, is my point. It's still building. So gotta exclude that from project. Okay, RTXMU. Yeah, I need to look at. It's probably added new files and stuff. Yeah, logger, I guess. Where was I compiling this stuff somewhere? Like, where is that supposed to be compiled? Probably in the relevant parts. I think logger is probably needs to be in both places, and for DirectX as well. 12. Need to have the sub allocator, the acceleration structure manager. Material I'm excluding for now. Did that rebuild it or not? What about logger? Where's logger.cpp? That should be there, right? Logger.cpp. It's not here though. It's a little weird. I think it like didn't, but it's not showing up here. There's no logger.cpp. Why is it not showing up? That is so strange. What? RTXMU source logger.cpp. Here it is. Why are you not being built? That is absolutely baffling. Metal002, Metal002. Thank you for the sub. Hi, I just saw you're switching to NVRHI. Did you look into NRI too? Is there a reason you're using? I don't know what NRI is. What's NRI? Is it on GitHub? Node resource interface? Ah, here we go. NVIDIA Render Interface. What's the difference? Oh, it does metal. What's the difference between this and NVRHI? What the heck? Why do they have two extremely similar things? And they have releases. Okay, this is weird. I don't know what that is. Well, I mean, this is an RHI. This is bizarre. I guess I can look at this. I mean, NVRHI has more stars. Check the issue. NRI is another RHI? Yes. The main differences are goals, non-goals. NVRHI has more people involved in development, but NRI offers better product quality longer term. NVRHI works, but the devil is in the details. As a result, new features appear in NVRHI faster. Major features missing in NRI code issues. Consequence, NVRHI tends to use an outdated API, while NRI performs that. Offers some useful high-level features like automatic resource state tracking. Blah blah, but it adds overhead. Yeah, NVRHI uses SCD with default allocators. That's what we're discovering now everywhere, including the main headers. In most cases, it's a no-go for integration to large products. Yeah, that's one thing I don't like. NRI provides a custom allocator. NRI interfaces are C-like and highly inspired by Vulkan. NVRHI uses heap allocations everywhere. Yes, also true, unfortunately. Was NRI relies more on stack allocations. It doesn't do memory allocations at runtime for performance reasons. Well, that's annoying. Yeah, so... Oh, and NRI offers swap chain and device creation functionality, which doesn't exist in NVRHI. NRI offers many ways to allocate and bind resources to memory, including easy-to-use allocation via VMA. Yeah, well, that's something that we have to think about, I guess. So sorry, I was reading this on my stream PC because someone sent it in chat and I don't have chat here, but essentially, it was, what was it? It was 125. Maybe we were reading this. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's annoying because we've already spent so much time getting NVRHI to work. But I don't know. I like the fact that this supports metal though. But actually metal through Molten VK, so that's not really metal. Like we also support that. And it supports the same. It just seems to be better because of its it seems to be better because of, and it even comes with an ImGui renderer, which is nice. Yeah, it seems to be better because of the memory. Well, the memory allocation stuff is, yeah, very annoying in NVRHI, as I've basically discovered this stream. And you're contributing a lot to NRI these days. Yeah, like, I don't know. I'll have a look at it first. Does it have, some examples? Like, do they have an example app that uses this? Because that would be nice. Interesting that it's got, like, swap chain, functionality, because that was, like, I feel like NVRHI should have that, and this might... like maybe shouldn't have it if it's lower level, but yeah, this looks quite granular as well. There's a NRD sample. Check this out. Oh, actually, what's this? NRI samples is a repository. But there's also NRD sample. Oh yeah, this uses NRI. Okay, I will investigate this. Yeah, so here's like the swap chain. Yeah, I mean, this is much lower level than NVRHI, which could be good. I mean, I don't really mind too much because I'm coming from straight Vulkan. But where's like all the... None is probably... Yeah, where is I guess that was somewhere else. Because I think samples were here. Yeah, here are the two samples. I wanted to look at like the... Well, here's a triangle, for example. Yeah, so it's got an actual swap chain, which is kind of cool. And device creation code. That's fascinating. Yeah. Oh, where were you, Metal Zero, like 6 months ago? Because this would have been easier as well, since it would have mapped to Hazel better. You were contributing to an NRI to make it work. Yeah. NRI creates streamer. Yep, that's me. It's got ImGui in this as well. It doesn't look like it does automatic barriers though, which would have been nice. Unless that's a different mode maybe. Command end rendering, what's that? Command begin rendering. Is that just like begin render pass? Or something. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm just gonna go say goodnight. BRB. Okay, I'm back. Right. So, I don't really know what to do now, because on one hand, I feel like maybe NRI is going to be better than NVRHI. It's very annoying that they both exist. I mean, I get it, but it's still annoying. And it's also annoying that this seems quite new. I mean, how long has this been around for? 500 commits. It seems to have more commits than NVRHI. Maybe people just commit more. It's got a lot of work done in the last 2 weeks. Like, how production ready is this? Like, I'm not sure. I mean, it's got releases and stuff. That's the first release? No. It's had releases for a while. Wow. It's a lot of releases. Oh wow, this has been a thing since like 2022. Huh. And NVRHI has like no releases for some reason. Very weird. Are there any projects that use it? I don't really know. No idea. I'm very new to this. Okay, well, we can grab this NRD sample, which is a real-time denoiser. Oh, but there's also just the normal. Actually, let's start with just the normal samples. I'll have a quick look at this, but again, I'm going to think about this, obviously, off stream and see what I like. I don't know. Just see. Because I don't really know what to do here. So one thing actually, since Metal Zero is here, one thing that I am concerned, well, not concerned about, but one thing that I liked about NVRHI is the fact that it has this like automatic barrier placement thing where basically you can just use resources, and unless you want to control the synchronization explicitly, it will automatically insert barriers where required so that you can, you know, for example, write to a texture from a compute shader and then use that texture to read from it in like a pixel shader later, right? So, and same with like buffers and whatever else, right? It can do that automatic synchronization, automatic barrier placement stuff. And that was quite attractive to me because I don't have to worry about that and I don't have to build a system around that. So does NRI do anything like that? It's not like a deal breaker, it's just a big bonus. Where was the thing that I just got? Here's NRI samples. So do I just run these 4 things? Install Windows SDK and Vulkan SDK, clone project and init submodules. I think I've done that. Generate and build project using CMake, right? All by running scripts only, deploy and build. Okay, well we can try that if this works. It says it does not do hidden management of any kind. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I would assume not based on that as well. Yeah, it tries to be close to APIs. Yeah. Well, because the reason why, like, but prior to today's stream, I would have just said, nah, it's fine, NVRHI is fine. But now that we've spent so long with NVRHI, and specifically, I'm much more aware of the memory situation. I'm a little bit, you know, shocked at just how much memory it seems to allocate. Like, it seems like it is just very alloc happy. And I'm just wondering if that's going to end up being a problem. But again, if it wasn't for that, then I feel like I don't mind using something slightly higher level, because with NVRHI, like, I kind of like the systems that they have there. It's just nice because it kind of, you know, if it's got that stuff in it, then I can be a little bit more free. Like, as in, I can kind of delegate some of that, because obviously we have very limited resources working on Hazel. So being able to, like, you know, kind of delegate that essentially to NVIDIA, and then I can just, was it here, the solution project? Yeah, the solution rather. Could you just try to grab just the barrier tracking from NVRHI? Yeah, that'd probably be fairly involved, I think. But I could, obviously. I could make my own barrier tracking system on top of that as well. I'm just trying to avoid that. But yeah, it is what it is. All right, let's try and, I guess I'll build all the samples. That was very quick. It's a good start. Wow, that is quite the triangle. Why is it not, why is this overlapping? It's a bit weird. That's DirectX 12. Where does it do the initialize? Where's initialize called from? Okay, let's, yeah, it's the sample base. What? Oh, that's outside of this. Just wondering where it sets the memory detection. That's useful. Because create, and then it takes in these arguments. Sample create. Is there a create in here? No, it's just this stuff. I guess create's here. And okay, so that does all the GLFW stuff. Returns a result. Sure. M window. That's inside sample base, sure. Okay, how do I set which API I want to use? Because initialize, I guess I need to see what calls initialize, which is in sample base. So yeah, create does that with graphics API. Okay, so you can set it by setting basically API get string equals. What format does it want for this? Command line usage. That. Probably that API, and then what? Equals or something? I hate this. Like, as in I hate, I guess I could just set it here. It's still DirectX 12, unless it's, no, it is still DirectX 12. What? Unless the title's wrong, but I don't think so. So how is that still DirectX 12? Falcon. Maybe it reads this elsewhere to make the GLFW window, because it makes the window where here, GLFW init, window hints, create window, window name, and it is, yes, it uses the API from the command line. All right, well, so it should be Vulkan. Okay, well, yeah, anyway, so that's that. Yeah, I don't know why it's weird that the triangle's, like, covered up, like, is this being drawn on top of it? I don't know, what's the point? It's supposed to be a triangle demo. I want to see a triangle, not a covered up triangle. Okay, so we got triangle flexible multi-view vertex shader. So utils load shader, which I'm guessing, what's this, what are these shader loading functions part of? NRI framework. Okay. Shader code storage is, yeah, vector of UNATs, sure. And then, yeah, this stuff is extremely, I guess, well, not extremely low level, but low level-ish. But it's not too far off from the stuff that we did in, you know, pipeline, for example. So this is our pipeline using NVRHI. So it's very similar. I mean, there's probably no output merger. Description. Pipeline description. I guess we set that as we go. And then we create it here. So yeah, begin rendering, I'm guessing. Oh, these are all like function pointers. Ugh. Okay, so these are all just Vulkan functions. So I guess this is using dynamic rendering. Scene viewer. Scene. Very flickery scene. Seems to be running fast. Wonder why it's like flickering. Okay, basically the verdict I think at the moment is like I think for now I'm probably gonna stick with NVRHI. Like the memory allocation stuff, like not the worst to fix, right? Like most of it seems to be coming from vector. That's fairly like drop-in replacement to optimize that, you know? That's not like a deal breaker. What is a deal breaker is probably the fact that I don't know if we're necessarily, like I was looking for specifically an abstraction layer, right? Like I didn't want to just have like a translation layer basically for Vulkan into like all these different APIs. I wanted something a little higher level that I could still go in and control if I needed to, which I can with NVRHI. And I like the additional management that it does. That's a big selling point for me, because one thing I have to do with Hazel is I just have to be very aware of how much time I spend on the rendering side, because that's not my job is not just rendering. My job is everything, you know? So if I'm just spending all my time in rendering, like I'm trying to outsource that as much as possible by using existing tech, right? I like this. It's just that I think that it's probably not a good decision, because it's probably going to prevent, like I think Hazel will probably be okay with NVRHI, because it's not like NVRHI is such a high level thing. Like you can realistically do basically everything in it. It's nice that NRI provides things like swap chain and device creation and stuff, but again, Hazel already has that. And also we kind of took stuff from Donut as well to improve Hazel stuff. So I don't know. I just think it's probably going to be more work than it's worth, even though yes, the performance benefits and just a lot of the philosophy definitely is more attractive to me than NVRHI. But I just have to remember that, like, we are trying to ship Hazel, you know, like we are trying to actually finish it, and yeah. So that's the kind of verdict for now, but I'm gonna keep my eye on NRI. Maybe I'll, I don't know, if I really, like, as we keep, because we don't even have the 3D renderer working in Hazel yet, right? Like we've got ImGui, we've got, obviously, you know, half of the work of getting NVRHI into Hazel has been me actually cleaning up Hazel. Like, meaning that, like, I've separated out the swap chain into it, like I've refined that, I've made a proper device manager class, like I've done all of that stuff. So it's not even that I've spent that much time in NVRHI. I mean, I have ported basically all of the renderer classes to NVRHI. So for example, like, you know, vertex buffer, you know, now uses NVRHI, but yeah, we'll see how we go. Because again, it is kind of early, but I just don't want to really throw away all this work, and also the kind of resource management features that I liked the sound of, to switch to something that's, you know, possibly going to give us a bit of a boost and some more control, which is always nice, but I just have to be careful with that. Yeah. Because NVRHI is quite low level still as well, you know? It's not like it's you know, BGFX or whatever. And then this is like, it's still an RHI, right? So hence why I'm kind of not sure. All right, anyway, so yeah, we'll put that on the back burner for now, but thanks Metal Zero for the suggestion. And if you, yeah, again, if this had happened 6 months ago or towards the start of the project, I'd definitely consider it a lot more seriously. It's just that I don't know if I want to effectively start again, you know? Now, the other weird thing though is I don't understand why my file's not being included. Like, did I spell it wrong or something? This is definitely a file and it's definitely at this location, right? Because these two are making it into here, but logger.cpp is not. So that's a little strange. Like, here it is, you know? Why is it not? Why is it not coming in? Because I need it. Have I heard of Plume RHI? No. There's a lot of these apparently. Oops. All caps. This looks primitive. Not gonna look at it right now. Yeah, that's very strange. Wait. Was I? Oh, I may have been editing a different pre-make. That's so annoying. Yeah, that's the one that I need to include apparently. That's very annoying. And also here, I think. Okay, that's better. And then let's... exclude that as well. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's just, I don't know, let's run this and see if we get the same memory leak, I guess. I mean, I'm expecting to. Still don't really know what's happening with that, but let's have a look. Yeah, so it's still going up like crazy. Oh, man, we really gotta find out what's going on here. It's weird because the only thing I'm doing right now is rendering to a command buffer. And by rendering to a command buffer, I mean I'm obtaining a command buffer and coding like one command into it and then executing it. But it's weird to me that like with NVRHI, like, I mean, this is the other thing that I immediately didn't like. The fact that in init, we're creating a command list, right? So I thought that command lists would have like kind of a one-to-one mapping to a command buffer because a command buffer is called a command list in DirectX 12. So I thought, oh, cool, you know, this M command list and this command list handle represents like a Vulkan command buffer, but it doesn't apparently. Because what happens is like, so this command list, you know, if we have a look at what a command list is, well, sure, take me here. See, they don't own command buffers, but request available ones from the queue instead. Which would be fine, but what seems to happen is when we actually want to start writing to one and we do open, at this stage, it will ask the queue, so the graphics queue in this case, to get or create a command buffer. But pretty much all the time, what ends up happening is this command buffer's pool is empty, and so it will create a command buffer. And to do that, it's going to have to do a heap allocation. Create a command pool, then allocate a buffer from that pool, and then return that every single frame. And I'm just like, why don't we just keep that command buffer and just re-encode it, resubmit it? Because obviously you can do that. I mean, this even has the flag of reset command buffer, right? Which I'm pretty sure means that it will reset it. And it is, well, it also has transient, but I don't know, like maybe this is fine. Like maybe this is okay to do. Like, I don't know the exact cost of this, but obviously this has got to be an allocation as well. So I really don't like this design. Like, and it doesn't look like there's a way to avoid that. The only way it doesn't go into that branch is if you have something in your command buffer's pool, but there's no way. Well, again, but I don't want a pool of command buffers to keep allocating from though. I just want to hang on to a command buffer, because that's what we did in Hazel. Like, so we had this thing called a render command buffer in Hazel, and render command buffer in Hazel, you know, now I've kind of added this stuff to it, but turns out that doesn't even represent one, so it's a bit weird. But a render command buffer in Hazel, like, see, there's like Vulkan render command buffer. And so what this had was, you can see it's got a command pool, probably just for this one buffer, and then it's actually capable of having multiple VK command buffers. This is what a Vulkan render command buffer is. And so the idea is when you create it, you actually create, like in this case, it'll create a pool from it for it, and then allocate as many command buffers as you want, because you might want one per frame in flight, right? And then you've just got that command buffer. And obviously when you begin the command buffer, it doesn't create it, it doesn't allocate it from the pool, it just does VK begin command buffer. And then you can start like writing commands to it. Then when you do end, obviously it does end, and then you do submit, and it submits it to the queue. And that happens like, you know, here somewhere. Yeah, VKQ submit, right? So that's the behavior that I would kind of expect. But with this, it's like you can't actually create a command buffer. Like you have to, it does it on the fly pretty much every time. And I'm a little worried about that. I mean, also it ends up apparently leaking a memory like crazy. But again, I haven't really confirmed that that's within NVRHI. It doesn't make sense for it to be, just because that's the expected behavior. Like that's what their examples do. They do command list open, and obviously command list close, and device execute command list. But I just don't like the fact that every time I open this, which is every frame, it ends up creating a new command buffer. Like we get a new one every single time. And not even a new buffer, but a new pool. Every frame. So one thing I could do, which, you know, we'll see, but, because I don't know, do we actually end up creating, no, well, we don't, because that's not how this is set up. I was gonna say, because the other thing that used to happen is in Hazel's swap chain, we used to actually have a command buffer, one per frame in flight. And that was just a command buffer that was submitted to the swap chain, like every time, like every frame, you know, and there was, yeah, one per frame in flight. It's getting hot in here. And so that meant that, you could always be like, okay, I have some work to do. I'd like it to be done this frame. So just give me the swap chains command buffer for the current frame. I'll just submit I'll encode some work into that command buffer, right? And that's what we did for certain things. But then also like every scene renderer, I think, had its own. So if you have a look at like scene renderer, because I'm gonna have to port this stuff to NVRHI, so I need to also kind of talk about this and think about it. But the scene renderer has its own, there's lots of stuff in this class. Oh my goodness, so much stuff. It's got its own, here it is, render command buffer. And that's the context for everything. And it creates a render command buffer. And then I'm guessing we eventually, like per frame, we end up submitting it to the graphics queue. Which again is fine. But it's just that the difference is that when we create it, which is up here once in like the init, in scene renderer init, that's it. It's created the pool, and in this case, actually, it's created 3 different render command buffers. It's created 3 different Vulkan command buffers, 1 per frame in flight. Because count is 0, which means that it will basically create as many as it needs so that you have 1 per frame in flight. But anyway, regardless, even though that's very annoying and I don't like it, it's possibly not the worst thing in the world because it's not like you're creating hundreds of these per frame or whatever. Like realistically, you might have a dozen, which is still not great, but whatever, you know, maybe that's fine. I don't know. I can't say for certain that like it's very expensive to create a command pool, a command buffer pool and allocate a command buffer from it every frame. Well, like, you know, 10 times per frame, whatever, 20 times per frame. I don't know. But, you know, so it doesn't explain the leak because it's supposedly cleaning up after itself. I want to have a quick look at... So this is like a map allocator, right? And then we're not using this anymore. Or are we? Oh, we are using this again. Okay, but it didn't matter because when I disabled it, nothing happened. We're using this again because I reran pre-make after I updated NVRHI. But if we don't do this, this is so weird, man. Anyway, if we don't do this, like if I go to if I go to ImGui layer, and I just don't do render to swap chain, right? Let's just recalibrate ourselves here. This is actually nuts. Then we have a black screen because we're not doing that clear to pink. And if we have a look at our memory, like we can have a look at it here, it's fine. And we can have a look at it in Task Manager and you can see 510 meg, like it's fine. It's not using anything and we're still doing a lot of stuff. I hate that stupid thing sometimes. So I can resize this. The swap chain's running, it's just black. And you can see like ImGui renders running. So I'm going through them and rendering everything while I'm going. The rest of the engine is running, literally. We're still doing lots of stuff. Yeah, but it's just the rendering, which is through NVRHI, is not used. It's not like that's it. We're fixed at like 510.7. You know, we're great. But then as soon as I enable this, which at the moment is doing very little, it's just doing, I've disabled most of it, it's just clearing a color attachment to pink. You know, if I re-enable that, then it's crazy. And it's not just a little bit of memory, right? Like, look, we're already gig, 1.3 gig, 1.6 gig, we're basically 200 to 300 meg per second. Open is meant to be used per frame. That's how you begin recording the command buffer. And that's what they do in their examples. And obviously the open is followed by a close and an execute. And I mean, it's gotta be open and like, you know. Let's try and strip some stuff, I guess. Like, let's get rid of this, the markers. I don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, this is an empty command buffer at this point, but I'm sure it's the, well, actually, I don't know what it is because again, it's like 200 to 300 meg per second. So we're back to being black, but yes, we are still 300 meg per second. Does their sample also leak? I haven't really run their sample. But again, like, I don't care that it leaks. Like, I want to know where it leaks because I've got all the code here, right? Okay, what if we don't do open, close, or execute? Because this way I'm still going through my functions, right? Again, not that they would be doing this. Like, I'll be very shocked if this memory is going to go up. Yeah, it's not. 519.7. Fixed. Right? And then all I'm enabling, guys, is 3 functions. Commandless open, commandless close, execute commandless. Yeah? 3 NVRHI functions. And this is the result. 1.1 gig. 2.2 gig, doubled in like a few seconds. 3 gig. Like, what is going on? I have 128 gig of RAM and you can literally see the incline. It's nuts. So it's definitely like commandless open, close, execute. Actual destruction of the resources released by the application that were in use at the time of final release performed by run garbage collection. Yes. Yes, I remember that. That's a good point. That is a good point. However, 300 meg per frame. That doesn't make sense. How? Sorry, not per frame, per second. And I guess I am running extremely fast actually, because VSync's not on. I don't think. Okay, plausible. So let's have a look at that. I mean, if we just go to application and we do, so yeah, that's in the programming guide. So let me quickly find that. Because yeah, I definitely do remember that. It's just like, I guess I was picturing things like textures and buffers, but I guess a command buffer is a resource. And again, I didn't realize that it was recreating it every single frame. So yeah, so here it says that actual destruction is done by iDevice run garbage collection, which is supposed to be called at least once per frame. So if we go to application, run, and then we go to, I don't know, where should we do this? So we'll do it, I guess, on the render thread, maybe after present or something. So NVRHI, what was it? Run garbage collection or something. Oh, it's on the device, okay. Okay, so I'm guessing this will fix it. I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense. It's still kind of insane that a simple empty command buffer submit uses that much memory. Yeah, it is, because I just don't, again, I don't understand how it's that much memory. The only thing that explains it is the fact that I'm probably running at 10,000 frames per second. So it's doing 10,000 of them per second. Yeah, that looks better already. Yeah, 400 meg. Okay, well there you go. It's the garbage collection. We must have had so much stuff there. That's crazy. So retire command buffers. Oh, okay. This is interesting. We know this function. So run garbage collection goes through all the queues. We just have the graphics queue. So it goes through just the graphics queue, we'll say, at the moment. And it calls retire command buffers. That's the only thing run garbage collection does in Vulkan. Literally. The only thing, retire command buffers. And what that does is it basically will move the command buffers into this place called the command buffer pool. And that, guys, will actually let us reuse it. Because when we do get or create command buffer, suddenly instead of creating it, it will be like, oh, there's one in the pool, so let's reuse it. So that's beautiful. That's exactly what I wanted. It's just that apparently, because I saw that function, I'm like, where does that get called from? But it literally, it's the only thing that run garbage collection does, apparently, on Vulkan. Because I think this function is implemented per API, right? So on like DirectX 12, for example, it kind of looks like it might do more. I mean, it kind of looks similar as well. But yeah, anyway, and that's the other thing. It also didn't make sense to me because things like textures are reference counted, and reference counted, like, so we have like, I mean, this is an I resource, but if we have a look at a texture, so an I texture, an I texture is also an I resource, but an I resource, you know, has add ref and release, but I guess that depends on the resource. But anyway, you can see that after it releases it, it deletes it, right? So it's doing, it's not like NVRHI uses garbage collection for C++ memory allocations. It doesn't. It's just that I guess command buffers are a special case or something. Very weird. Anyway, bizarre. Whatever. Just make sure you call run garbage collection if you use NVRHI. All right, let's re-enable everything. Damn. Well, I'm glad we got to the bottom of this, even though it took like the whole stream somehow. So let's re-enable this, and then obviously that's going to fix everything else. So we might as well bring back the actual rendering. Okay, so that's a bit of a few because like this is not as bad anymore because I'm pretty sure that it's not going to be creating command buffers every frame anymore. It's going to be reusing the old ones basically from the device, from the queue, from the graphics queue, which is what you want, right? It's just that it kind of does so on demand rather than upfront. Should you run GC every frame if the name is GC? I mean, like, that's basically what ends up happening, right? Like every language with a garbage collector like C# or Lua or whatever, like the result is if that's used in a game engine, then like gc.collect, for example, for C# or whatever. I think that's it, I don't remember. That's just called throughout the engine all the time, like, because you can't really trust it. But also, yes, in this case, Programming Guide says yes. I mean, I just mean that this isn't just an NVRHI thing. It seems to be the case with all APIs. Okay, with like all garbage collectors that I've ever used. Like it seems like you always want to do that. Right, look at that, beautiful. I guess this deserves a commit. Oh, we also updated NVRHI. So I'll need to do that. We added this, which is, I guess, important. And we got rid of some stuff here. I wonder why this is not being oh, it is. Good. Okay, so that's pushed. All right. I'm probably gonna end the stream here because it's getting late and I'm exhausted after all that. I guess I would like to also just have a look at the, maybe we can fix the filtering quickly. That shouldn't be that hard. I actually don't know how it's even doing it. I mean, we need to look at how we submit stuff, but it's obviously happening here through the texture ID, which is an iTexture in this case, and we get a binding set for that. So I think most of that is probably done through, I don't even know, like ImGui utils or something, no. Like I probably should find that. I mean, we can find that if we go to, because we know that, like for a fact, the ones that aren't working are the gizmo ones. They look weird. So I think if we go to like the viewport, somewhere around here we have our, I don't know if it's like exactly here. Yeah, gizmo type. That's probably gonna change it, right? Gizmo button. UI draw button image is what it uses, and there's a lot of these. And it takes in an icon, which is a ref texture ID. And then there's a tint and I don't think it's that function because it takes in like 3 tints. Draw button image with 3 tints. And it's a texture. It's probably like one of these. And then that calls draw button image. I guess I combined these. Where's the real function? Oh, that's in the header. I guess it does this. I mean, this runs 3, but I think it just says it's null. Yeah, image. Okay. So draw list add image. And then we do get texture ID. Ah, yes, this is what I was looking for. Vulkan ImGui, apparently. And that just gets that. Okay, cool. But yeah, we don't have a sampler attached to that or anything. I guess we can have a look at get binding set. Yeah, here's a sampler. So it uses the font sampler, which it probably shouldn't always. And that font sampler, but set all filters is true. Which I'm guessing, yeah, just enables all of them. So we should have that. Like it should be filtering after all. How strange. They're actually true by default as well. Reduction type. Standard. No, so if filtering is set to true, then it should, you can see if it's true, it sets it to linear. Otherwise, it sets it to nearest. So these are all true. I mean, mip map mode isn't set, I don't think. So we could try do that, but I don't know if it doesn't have mip maps. How do you even set that? Oh, yeah, it just wants the MIP filter. But that actually, no, it also sets the MIP filter to true, never mind. But also, we don't have MIPs. That's very strange. Very weird. Because yeah, definitely it should be filtering. So why does it look so strange? We can have a look at how it draws it using like render doc. Maybe this is good. Yeah, but release. Let's have a look at how it draws it using a render doc. Yeah, because it looks like clearly it's... Oh, it could be the blending, actually, guys. It could be the blending. It probably is the blending. So... Oh, and look, this is a little weird. Anyway, it's very weird, actually. Should investigate those. Yeah, and look, these are all weird as well. Why is that? So there's that being drawn, for example. Draw indexed. It really should be batched together, but whatever. So it's drawn that. But then this is apparently like undefined or something. But how? It's clearly not. That's a bit weird. But either way, yeah, it's very weird. Oh, sampler 0. It's saying it's got no sampler. So it's got a texture, and what does it? Well, apparently it's got something bound there. It's just not showing me what it looks like. But it says it's got no sampler. But I mean, it does. I doubt that's null. Unless it does that before it creates the font, but I doubt it. We'll have a look at this, because it does cache this. It doesn't create this every frame. And then frame buffer. Let's just have a look quickly at what we're doing. I mean, blending is enabled. And it's source alpha 1 minus source alpha, so it's correct. Unless like there's some blend factor situation. Yeah, it is a little bit worrying that the this is apparently not bound and that's showing us that. That's weird. Let's have a look at this and what happens. Yeah, font sampler is a thing. All the filters are on. And it's set in the binding set. So then why... I mean, that's for the ImGui font texture. But again, every time we submit with some other texture, like this one, that's got 6 MIP levels somehow. But I don't know if they're actually real. Then it's still gonna use that font sampler, which is fine. As long as it's just all true. I mean, it's gonna wrap, but that's okay. That's bizarre. That seems all fine. And this especially is so weird. That didn't look, this didn't even show up. So something kind of is weird with the textures for sure. I mean, this is probably quite large. 28. So yeah, so we have 28 different images here. I mean, some of them seem weird for some reason. Three bindings. Yeah, that's... Don't they all have three bindings? Yeah, they do. Very strange. Don't know if I should try Insight, because this is worrying. Even though it seems visually to be not that bad, it's still not good. But I'm just thinking, like, what could be wrong? I want to find one of these as well. Yes, this is all just undefined apparently. And I don't know why this is coming up like this. The font is working, but none of the images are working in RenderDoc. But they're working outside of RenderDoc. Like they're working in the actual thing. And look, this like the text is rendering. How is that possible? That's so strange. Let's have a quick look at the shader. Yeah, so sampler and texture, I mean, they're kind of divided here, but I don't think that matters because we are providing both of them. Unless you have to do something special for Vulkan here. Because usually in Vulkan, you wouldn't even really provide a sampler. So that's what I don't know, maybe this is wrong. Like, as in maybe this doesn't map to Vulkan properly like it should. I can have a look at how we do, like, for example, like GTAO is written in HLSL. Yeah, and you can see, so we do VK binding. So we do VK combined image sampler, texture 2D, if it's a combined image sampler. So maybe we have to do something like this. And then how do we sample? Oh, so we still have both. I see. Except this is called a sampler state and that's called a texture 2D. I don't know if it needs to be marked as what it is, but... So let's try this. We'll have a texture 2D called texture 0 and then a sampler. Both in the same, 0, 0. And then we won't put an argument here. Okay, let's try run that. Let's see what happens. See if that fixes our thing. No, it did not visually fix anything. Did the shader compile? I mean, I guess so. Let's tint this a color. I don't know if the F's are mandatory, I don't remember. Just want to make sure the shader is actually compiling. Because who knows what's happening in this. Yes, it is compiling. Yeah, that didn't fix it though. So it's happy with that. Okay, well let's go through RenderDoc now and see if, because that did not fix anything. That didn't change anything. But I'm wondering if RenderDoc now will see that we actually have a sampler bound. Because it thought we didn't. But it's not exactly a combined image sampler if it's separated like that, is it? So maybe it's not supposed to be that. Yeah, it's still everything's still undefined. That did nothing. Yes, they're both set in slot 0. It's just that, yeah. That's so strange, like... Oh look, so now this shows differently. It's image and sampler. But why is it... Why are there two? So here, texture 2D, image and sampler is one thing, but now it's something else. It shouldn't... ImGui font texture... And there's all these images, but again, they're not. Image combined with sampler, no resource. Okay, let's try NSite. I'm just wondering if it tells us anything else. I don't know if I still have to run it as administrator. What's this? No. Release, render 2025, yes. Frame debugger, next generation tool. You know what, let's try this for the first time. What could go wrong? It's in beta or whatever. Is that font different? Huh, weird. Okay, let's do a capture. Terminate. Okay, so, oh, great. Oh, you can do start live replay. Look, so in NSite, it actually shows up normally. That's not to say that it's good though. What's all this red stuff? Does this just mean it's part of this viewport? Or is that an error? Using red is tough. I guess it means it's part of that viewport. Okay, and then, so when we draw something, like this image, yeah? So, I'll make this a bit bigger. So we're drawing one of these, I think, now. Yeah. We know that draws weirdly. So we can have a look at this. So texture 0 is what it's using, which looks white, too white. It's apparently just white with, oh right, with alpha, sure. Is there anything I can do here to look at it better? Guess not. And yeah, it's just saying, I guess that it's happy with it. And then the out. So yeah. So what about like the sampler and stuff? Sampled image. Doesn't really tell me much about it. Blend enable is true. Everything seems fine here. But the sampler's kind of important. I kind of want to know what the sampler is saying. Multi-sample, that's fine. I just want to know, like, what the sample, like, what it's using to sample it. How it's sampling it, like the sampler. Yes, that's what it becomes, which is fine. That's what I want. That's obviously correct. Object browser. Well, this is just the image though, not the sampler. So I wanted to say it here, but it doesn't tell me. Maybe I can look at like bind descriptor sets, but it's not really. I think it's just going to the drawer basically. Like here's the folder, for example. Looks a bit weird here. Don't know what that is. Don't know if that's always there. But anyway, that looks fine. It's just, the other one is also fine. It's just the alpha is showing up as white, so you can't see it. But again, this doesn't really tell me the... It's got the pipeline. But what about the bind descriptor sets? I kind of want to see. Okay, well, it binds it to this descriptor set. But that doesn't tell me what's actually bound in there. It's just got the layout, which is this. Look at this though, there's two elements here. There's a sampler and a sampled image. So that's what we were seeing inside, yeah, and the reason it's like that is because I guess there's technically two here, but it's because you need to do texture.sample with a sampler, but they're both in the same binding. So in Vulkan, that should just map to the same thing. But it's still showing up as 2, and that's coming in at a binding of 128 or whatever, which is a bit weird. I wonder if that's messing up stuff. Could also try using an immutable sampler instead. I wonder if using an immutable sampler will will change anything. Like, let's try that. So where's the binding layout? Oh look, this has a binding of a sampler here already. But that's the binding layout. Well, that's fine, I guess. But this is around the time that you would specify an immutable sampler, right? I just don't know. Maybe that's not a thing because might not be a thing because it might not be a thing in other APIs. I don't know. Yeah, so descriptor set layout binding lets you take in immutable samplers. Scripter set layout binding. I don't know if I can do this here. Because there's sampler, but there's no, doesn't look like there's an immutable sampler. I mean, I guess I can easily check, because if I go to, if we go to create binding layout and into Vulkan create binding layout, then we can see if there's anything here, like if there's any immutable samplers here. Any mention of immutable samplers, there's not. Okay, so it doesn't support it. I bet NRI does. Okay, so yeah, we can't really use immutable samplers. I mean, obviously I can add that functionality, but I'm not gonna bother. Cause I don't, Hazel doesn't really use them. I just thought maybe we could try it and just see. What if we try this? No, doesn't make sense either. Because we can just do texture versus a sampler state probably. So instead of doing it as a combined image sampler, we could separate them. Right, so we could do like, we could just do binding 0 and is it set first? Is that set and that's binding? Well, that's set 3 binding 1 or binding 1 set? Or binding 3 set 1? Have a look at this. I'm guessing the first one is the binding and the second one is the set. Yeah, because binding, yes, the first one's the binding, so that's correct, and you don't really need this because set 0 is default. So if I actually put them in different things now, explicitly, and then back here I say this is in 1, and in the get binding set, obviously this is in 1. So I wonder if that makes it use that sampler. I mean, I don't know, like combined image samplers should work though, because I feel like we use them for things. I mean, that's just like fun crashed. Now, why would you crash? Were there any Vulkan errors? No. Like that should have worked. That's really the only thing I did. That's very weird. Maybe I'm not allowed to do that. I don't know. Skip binding after I draw step. They're just really upset about that for some reason. Maybe I missed setting it somewhere, but I'm pretty sure that's the binding layout. That's correct as well. That's so strange. I I don't understand why that doesn't work. Very weird. Guess it really wants it to be in 0. I mean, combined image sampler is supposed to do that. That's the weird thing. That I'm supposed to be able to put them both into 0. And then use this to specify that they're both in 0. But I don't know. We can Google this as well. Okay, so here they're using this instead of that, which is fine. It's the same thing, I guess. What do we have before here? So we had T0 and S0. So we can do that if we want. Yeah, here it is. And we had this. Okay, so let's try. We can get rid of this. Bring back this, but then just use it, apparently that. And then because they're both in register 0, just S and T. Which is for DirectX anyway, Vulkan doesn't care about that. But they're marked as combined image sampler, which they weren't before. Maybe that's the magic that we need. Who knows? Alright, I'm gonna end the stream very soon. Okay, that looks the same. It's hard to tell if it's nearest filter. I mean, what else could it be though? It's clearly not, like you can clearly see. I mean, maybe it's blending. Maybe it's not blending correctly. I'm gonna check out the blending situation. So if we, so where would that be? That would be in the pipeline, which I'm guessing would be in, I mean, it has to be correct though. But let's have a look at ImGui renderer, which we're already in here. And if we have a look at this, so, well, that doesn't seem correct, does it? Inverse source alpha and 0 for blend alpha. Let's have a look at what it used to be. Well, actually, we can have a look at what ImGui has it as, right? So if we have a look at this, that's probably better. So the ImGui backend, if we have a look at that, we go to Vulkan CVP. What is it, like graphics pipeline, create graphics pipelines. I'm guessing this is it. So we can have a look at the rasterization state. No. Where is it? Color blend state. Color attachment. So it's source alpha is 1 and 1 minus source alpha. So it's not 1 minus source alpha and 0. So let's go back to here. So they've got source alpha, 1 minus source alpha for color, which is correct. But then source blend alpha is supposed to be 1. And destination is supposed to be inverse source alpha. So to be honest, that was probably it. Not the filtering, since the filtering seems to be linear. So I'm expecting this to hopefully look beautiful. It does not. That's a shame. That's a shame. That seemed to have done nothing. I need to make sure that this is set to add as well, which I think add is probably the default though. Yeah, add and add. Color right mask. Is all, which is correct. Strange. I was really hoping that would be it. And yet here we are. I want to restart this in this, but first of all, let's do frame debugger, not graphics capture. And we've changed some of the stuff. I'll do this anyway. And then once we have a look at this, we will end the stream. Yeah, this is better. This is what I was looking for. I like this more than the new one, which apparently, I mean, it says it's in beta, but it doesn't look like it has anything. So yeah, this one's a bit. Oh look, but you can see it, the alpha, so that's nice. I mean, to be fair, it's like the way it's made is very It's like 1 bit. So wouldn't you expect it to... How would you expect it to be blurry? It's a bit weird, isn't it? But why does it look good in the other Hazel? Let's have a look in Hazel, Hazel 2024. And I'll just have a look at that icon and make sure that it looks bad. Yeah, look, doesn't it look much better? Look, it's all smooth. Look at that. Maybe it's the way we're reading it. Because look, that's like smooth. If it's the same source, because look, in NVIDIA, in Insight, like it's like, you know, you can see it's like a 1-bit image. Like it's either, and if we look at the memory view, you can see that it's all 111, but then the alpha is either 0 or 1, which makes that shape. But then here, this is obviously very smooth. So what gives? Why is that the case? Are they different icons, or like what's going on? Or are we loading the textures weirdly? I don't know how we would be loading the textures weirdly. I mean, we could be like, because they're all like textures, right? Meaning that like, is that in Vulkan? It's just in texture now, .cvp. Or they're images or something. Yeah, if we have a look at the image, I guess we can have a look at the source image. But again, I'm sure they're using the same source image. So it must be probably something to do with this. Maybe like the format is weird. Because we do utils NVRHI format. Maybe I made a mistake here. But I mean, I doubt it. Let's have a look at how that image is created, I guess. Editor resources probably. And then it would be the... well, I mean, this one's what, a sound graph? A sound graph config. Sound config. So this is it. I guess I'll have to... I'll try not do debug for now. No, it can't be different shaders. Now that we've looked at it, we can see that the source image is actually on the GPU is wrong. So that's why the actual source image is now the culprit. I just want to see what, okay, so specification, yeah, it's just RGBA, oh no. I'll redo it. I don't want to risk dragging it back. So specification, wait, width and height 1? What does that just mean? You read it from the file? Because it is being read from a file actually. So create from file is called here, which is different than the normal one. Specification format, to buffer from file. Well, it's gonna probably be... It's forced to 4 channels, and it also has 4 channels, and it's not sRGB, so image format RGBA is going to be used, which seems legit. Now, the actual image, so this is called, what was it, like sound config or something. You can actually see it like here. Sound config.png in content browser. Let's open it in Photoshop. I'm sure that's not a 1-bit image. I don't have to sign in. Great. Look at me instead. Alright. It kind of does look like it's 1-bit. I was not expecting this. Look, it's like... But it's got no alpha. It's just an RGB image. What? But it's a PNG. Anyway, this is weird. Because it is in fact a 1-bit thing, but it gets so much smoothing in the other version of Hazel. I mean, surely it's not a different image. That would be absurd, right? Like, since when would anyone change that? So this is the net branch. Just need to make sure, but I'm pretty sure this is preposterous. Yeah, it's the same. So weird. Okay. So it is like that, but then why does it look so nice here? Like, why do we get so much? Why do we get all of these colors? I mean, it seems like it would be linear sampling. No, I don't think it's anti-aliasing, unless there's MSAA is on, but that's weird as well. Maybe it is though. I didn't think so. Well, no, I don't think we're using MSAA. It's very strange. I'm as confused as this guy. That's so weird. I mean, I guess I can render doc this or whatever, or NSI to this and see the difference in how it's rendering. But that's for next time. All right, hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. It's getting late. I'm gonna end it here. Wednesday morning is the next live stream. So if you go to the Twitch schedule on my Twitch channel, you'll be able to see when that will be in your time zone. So thank you all for watching. Don't forget you can help support the project by going to patreon.com/Cherno and also get access to Hazel. Yeah, I'll see you guys hopefully at the next stream. Goodbye.